Okay, welcome back. So, we are now in PMDG's 737, one of the airliners that I fly predominantly on the on my live streams, along with the Phoenix, and just as you've seen the ATR. Now, I'm not going to bother to show you as what we did there with the kind of initial setup and the taxiing out to the runway. But I will, when we jump back into the cabin, just show you some of the switches and things that I've turned off just before takeoff. So let's jump in. And turn the eye tracker on. And as you can see, again, we're already looking straight down. So I'm just going to reset my barometer. I'm going to reset the camera and then double reset the camera, and then we're in. So already you can see there's a slight difference. It's a bigger cockpit, so there's more to look around in. If I look out the window, it doesn't take me all the way out as last time, but I can still look out. I can still look out here. If I want to look at my up panel, I don't need to crack my head as much, but I still kind of do if I want to get over. So there's not any real change. Now if I'm looking straight down the centre line, you can see I can see right down to the end of the runway. If I look at the panels, I can see them fine. So I've set it up so we can just get straight out and do the go around again, and then again you can see the difference. The only major difference between this and the next one is I am now using the Honeycomb Bravo for my switches and my thrust levers, and the Logitech multi-panel for doing my autopilot, etc. And as I'm looking at the camera lens just now, you can see that I'm looking basically at the top of the aircraft. Okay, so let's look at some of the pretty much what I would do in the live stream by using these panels, using the external devices. I'm probably the same landing rate that I would normally get by breaking off the wheels. So first of all, let's look up, see if there's anything switched off here. So I think I did. If I crane my neck, I turned off the probes. So let's, oh, come back on. Great. The as you can see, the seatbelt signs are off. So if I were to do what I would normally do, is would look down onto my Honeycomb Bravo. Turn my passenger switch on, so you can hear the click. So you can already see there's a bit of a detriment there because I'm looking down rather than looking up. I'm not very good at my feeling around with the hand. I do have to, everything's labelled down there. And then I need to turn my beacon on. So it's already on. My landing lights, turn them on. My taxi lights would obviously be on by this point. And my strobes. Okay, so that's all on. I also have an APU button, which we don't need for the moment. So that would just be the light panel that I have got set up there. My gears and flaps are down here as well, so if I wanted to go to flaps 1 for the takeoff that I've just kind of done a pre-setup for, I can either look down here like the ATR, set it to 1, or I can look down at the Bravo, which obviously takes my eyes off the screen. Or if I'm smart enough, I could, feel around and wait for the little, dial to go to 1 over there. Now, obviously, if you're wanting to just look down, you can't see unless you kind of look over there, and even then, the camera starts to muck up, so it's not the best. Now, see, I'm touching my nose. If you put your hand up on the camera, it just totally doesn't pick it up. So let's just do some of the switches here. So I have to do this manually here, that's fine. So not a problem there. Now this is where I use the multi-panel. So if I've got my altitude, if I'm looking at the multi-panel and I want to change it, obviously my eyes are looking at that, so it goes off, or I can look at it up here and dial it in. So we want to go up to 8,000. I'm not going to do the heading, I'm just going to leave it as it is. And if I want to check... Stop. See what I mean? This is why you need to turn the camera off, move the camera. My takeoff speed 151, pretty fast actually. So reset the camera, hello? Try and reset again. So if I do the switch for my indicated airspeed, it was 150. Same scenario, I can either look up here and change it, or I look down there and my eyes go off. So that's where the eye tracking bit where you would want to have it turned off. So let's sit back. Now I feel like I'm sitting pretty high and looking down. If I look straight up and have my head straight, it looks like my head is almost bouncing off the ceiling. So I have to reset it once again. So I think we're pretty much configured to go. I'll press the VNav and the LNav buttons. Again, I could press it on the SciTech, or I could press it on the panel here. Right, I'm going to just do that so we get a better turn. Let's double check everything's fine up here. Yeah. Crane my neck. That's all good. Right, let's get set for takeoff. Now, I'm sitting pretty straight. So what I'm going to do, because I don't need it for this aircraft as such, I'm actually going to turn the eye tracking back off again. So it's now just purely set to the head. See, it's not so bad when you do it left to right. Even the sitting forward bit, it's not too bad. But trying to do the up above. See, just opening my jaw. Can't pick it up. Right, and I kind of think I have to reset it again, do I? Yeah, see, it keeps pushing me forward. Right, let's take off. So, release my parking brake. We've got our clearance. So we've got. Make sure I've got everything set. I suppose that you could use your eyes to again look down, and it doesn't look so bad if I'm looking at the switches.
V1.
Rotate. A little bit off the line there. Gear up. Set my autopilot, so again I could press the button here, or I could press the button up top. Autopilot is on. And what we're going to do differently for this one is we're going to vector ourselves in, effectively. So you can see me having to like go in and out. So let's just say we want to get vectored now. Imagine we were coming in, so I press the heading bug. Oh, I'm still on the indicated airspeed, that's not helpful. And I'm reaching over. If I want to look at the heading there, that's fine. I mean, I can also look on the second screen, but I kind of effectively need to have my eyes on both. So let's vector us into this direction. We can sit back. Let's say we don't want to go to our 8,000 anymore, so we'll change our altitude down to 6. And as I said, what I'm showing you is the exact same things I would do in the stream, albeit not the same checklists, the same procedures. I can have put my flaps up way long before now. So at 6,000 feet, Normally, if it was the UK, we press our standard button at 6,000, but we're not going to bother. Let's do another little bit of vectoring. So you can see I have to kind of go in and out every time I want to switch the panel. Let's turn around again. Look out the windows. It doesn't get it very good. Let's get prepared for landing. So switch this to 1. And then what we will do is, let's do a direct now to DO2, or at least a vector direct to, let's do that and we'll turn. So we say, let's say we want to start programming in for the landing. So again, I've not even got the eye stuff on this time. So flaps 40, get that in there, good. 108.90. 108, come on, 9, come on. The CRS of 241, so I can actually do that here. Can't change our heading quite yet. And then our barrow for Edinburgh, I know this off by heart, for that runway is 200. Oh, wrong way. Or minimums even, let's see our barrow, sorry. Come on. Now even though I've turned the eye tracker off, you can still see it picks it up a little bit. Just enough. Right. We're in now, so we're starting to come in for our approach into Edinburgh. Once we start crossing the line here, we will get back on it. Now, one other thing I'd like to point out about the tracker is it uses 4 types of cameras. Well, no, 2 types, but 4 cameras. It's got 1 camera for tracking your eyes in the center, and at either side and in the middle, it has infrared sensors. Now those infrared sensors are on all the time, and I've seen some people saying it's not that intrusive, etc., but it really is. The red lights are constantly on. Now the center 2 lights, they're like the LEDs that you would find on like a TV control or your TV itself. But the 2 side ones, those ones are more, I don't know, they don't look the same. They're just like red lights in a way, but they flicker. It's not like on off or like that, but it's really, really fast. And if you look at them straight on, you don't always see it, but, and I've come off course, but, oh, let me just fix this. In fact, I want me to go back to LNAV. I can't. Let's direct ourselves into it. Let's do it for the next one. So let's do a direct, and then I'll come back to the camera. So come on, legs, legs. So you want to go direct to D104 Lima. So many messages. Right. Back. Select. Come on. Come on. Okay, I think we can put it back into VNav now. LNav even. Right. So that's us coming back in. So, where was I saying? Oh yes, the camera light. So, they flicker. And when you're moving your head around, your eyes around it, you notice that flicker more than if your head was still and you just saw the 3 red lights at the corner of your eyes. But as you start to move, you notice that flicker, and that's actually quite distracting, and in fact to the point where it's really annoying. Right, let's start our descent. So again, we need to... Oh, let's do it the right way. So 3,000. Let's just make sure we catch that. We're probably way too high right now. Okay, we'll pick it up. I think we're actually okay. So looking out the window looks very nice. And this is why the eye tracker in the ATR versus the bigger airlines has a difference in terms of what you can see on the screen. Now, I probably have my default camera set up wrong on the ATR. So when we look at the ATR, if I turn this off for a moment, we really only see this. Okay, and it's hard to see what speed we're at. It doesn't really matter about the course because I think by the time we're landing we already know we're on course. But the default camera, I can see everything. I can see where I'm going straight. I can see all the panels. Everything's good. So again, I don't need the eye tracker. I've got the devices to the side. I've got everything I need to see in front of me. I'm now getting to the point where, yeah, do I actually need the device? Again, the answer is I don't think so. So let's turn it back on. You can see it just jumps us. You can see there's definitely a difference. So let's still actually very high. Let's just really. I'm going to use it. Oh. Just going to do this to get us right down really fast. So you can see where the camera bugs out. You have to reset it again. I'll pull back some of these brakes. Put us back into VNAV. And I get my approach ready. So I start doing this turn. You can start thinking about flaps 1. Probably going to flaps 2 even. So we're starting to do our base turn now. So right now I'm moving my eyes, and of course it doesn't really do anything anymore, unlike on the ATR. Okay, then I'll go in and press the approach button. Speeds come alive. So we need to be flaps 40 at 140. So I don't need to worry about my altitude anymore, so I can do my indicated airspeed. Let's just drop it down to 160. I'm not entirely sure if that boat's sinking down there. I don't think it is. I think it's just got a high hull. So you can see the airport in front of us now. Let's drop the flaps a wee bit more. So, to check, of course, this is me now checking because of the way it is here. I'm at flaps 15, that's what I've set it to. So you can see, the camera's gone way off. Of course, because we're not doing proper checks, so we're getting lots of warnings now. I might have to live with it for a second, I'm sorry. Probably asking us to get our gear out. So, gear down. And let's put the speed down to 140 now.
2500.
There we go. Flaps 40. So I think we've got configured a little bit too early, but it's good to see how we do things on the side. So, as I said, if I was doing the live stream now, I would either be moving my head around like this, if I had the tracker on, trying to get bits and pieces on the side configured, get the multi-panel. You could say, well, if I had a proper yoke and the multi-panel in front of me, I would only need to be doing this, but that's not the setup I've got. Let's arm my speed brakes. And let's come in. Okay, so we're at the 5 mile mark now, fully configured, gears down, 140, our heading's at 003, but that's fine. Having to crane my neck to make sure everything else is on. Okay, so we're clear to land. Okay, we are now on our short final. Let's turn autopilot off and manually fly her in. Now the wind's picked up a little bit, so let's see if we can keep it straight with the head tracker. Ooh. So one thing I've noticed, ever since I've started using the head tracker, the aircraft has banked quite a lot. I don't know if that's just pure coincidence or it's the software. But for some reason, when I'm coming in for my landings, it does love to wobble. I'm going to just put it down to coincidence when I'm landing on windy days.
200.
I'm fighting it a little bit.
Approaching minimums.
See what I mean? It just wants to push me off.
100. Minimums.
Continue.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Right, so we're on the ground. Clean up. Just tap the brakes. Okay, and then we can use the head tracker again just to see where we're going. Now again, just like with the last aircraft, if you need to clean up really fast with lights and everything, if you don't have the buttons, you'd obviously have to go and look at the camera and something bleeping in the background and have to do that. But because I've got my equipment, I would then look down, turn my landing, taxi, well, keep my taxi light on, turn my strobe off. I then want to turn my APU on, check that's all right. And, you know, the camera's all over the place, really. And if I want to clean up anything else, I'd do so around there. Switching to, like, the radios, for example, I'd have to have my head pretty much facing down here like this. And then we come in. Again, for the taxi and parking, it's pretty good. I can look left to right. We'll be coming in at gate 6 here, so I can line it up, slow it down, do the turn. Oh, should have overshot a little bit. Let's just try and sort that out. So at least there I can see plane turning and start doing my tiller so I don't overshoot the line. And I can line up quite nicely actually. And this is where, against the lower aircraft, this is where leaning forward comes in handy. So now I can actually lean forward a little bit better and guide it in. Now obviously I've got the numbers and everything else up there and the guidance system itself, but it's good to just be able to sometimes see over the edge. Just in those instances where it is a marshaller letting you in. Now it will push us quite far forward this, because it's not set up very well, so I'll just sit back and just stop it there. Good. So after going through those two use cases, what do I think? Well, I mean, I made my decision before making this video anyway, and probably with the language that I've used so far, it probably is no surprise that I will be returning the Tobii Eye Tracker. And that's primarily because I have the equipment, that I've got the switches, I've got the dials, and I would be primarily turning my head or away from the camera so many times that it's just going to be jumping around, and it's just not something I need. If you're wanting to get into VR and you don't want to have a VR headset strapped to your head, then okay, this is maybe the go-between with that. And if it wasn't so expensive, then potentially, you know, it would keep it. But if you look on Amazon today, it's £299. Now I got mine second hand from Amazon for $250. That's still a lot of money. So, yeah, I'm going to be sending it back once I've finished cleaning up this video. I'm going to uninstall it, package it back up, and send it on its merry way to Amazon. Of course, some of you might have different ideas or views, and you know, we're welcome to that. But for me, as I said, my personal use case, it just doesn't. It doesn't count. Okay, well that was my first video, so it's probably a long and painful one for anybody watching. If you like this, even if you don't like it, I would appreciate if you could just give a little subscribe there and a thumbs up to the video, and come and join me on my Twitch streams. Links should be below, where we get into a lot more depth and do more realistic procedures in flying, etc. Many European airports, online on VATSIM, and hopefully soon we'll be able to tackle America. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.